Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. You join me as we return to Tropico, back on An Blascaod Nua. The start of, what's this? The 4th decade since the establishment of a new settlement in the Caribbean by the people evacuated from the Blasket Islands. The 1970s was meant to be a much more successful decade than it actually turned out to be. We expected a lot greater growth in terms of housing, in terms of the economy. Now, we have had an economic boom, but whether it is sustainable is the next question, because there hasn't been much actual underlying growth in the production of goods for export. So there's a bit of worry in some political circles on the island. However, life has been good for the people overall. It's hard to see him. He's hiding there behind a tree. But we're taking a look at Matteo O'Donovan. No need to tell you who he is the son of course. Pontius O'Donovan, who we saw back in the very first episode. He's 25 years of age. He was born on the island, and he is working in the iron mine, one of the main powerhouses of An Blascaod Nua's economy. A tough job, a dirty job, a manly job. After which, he returns home to the screams and cacophony of an apartment full of women. He grew up with an older sister, and he's married now to a factory worker. Check his family. His wife works in the cigar factory, another one of the powerhouses on the island, and together in an apartment overlooking the ocean, they are raising their 2 daughters, Maria and Constanza O'Donovan. And those 2 children, the 3rd generation, the 2nd generation to be born on the island, they have a bright future, I would hope, to look forward to, if Charlie Haughey can get everything sorted out. Now, it mightn't have been a great decade for growth on the island. I think it was a fantastic decade for Haughey's Swiss bank account. I think it doubled. We'd better not say anything about that. We can see Matteo is emerging from a brand new apartment complex that's being built. Maybe he was thinking about checking it out. He lives here at the moment.
You have reigned for 30 years now, Your Excellency. Quite an accomplishment.
I always forget that O'Mara is going to tell us what a great job we've been doing. But maybe Matteo was thinking about moving the family to this apartment complex, which would bring him closer to work, and I think it might bring his wife closer to her job as well. If we were to put a road here, maybe she likes the walk, and of course gets to go down by the coastline, and possibly their children might be in a position to dream of becoming some of the first college-educated employees on the island, because I'm not too sure when this college is going to be put up and running. So what's our plans? What's our plans?
I believe some of your people may be calling for an election next year.
Well, there's one of our plans. We have an election. Again, like I said.
The island is disgusting, Presidente. Is there nothing that can be done for the environment?
Well, this place is turning into an unreachable hellhole. I'm going to shut it down. It's telling us, it's not giving us great options for where we could put goats. What about cattle? Even worse. Oh, what? There you go. A ranch right next door. Not the type of stud farm that Haughey actually owned in real life, but it'll have to do. We have El Prez's childhood home, which was moved out to the island about 20 years ago, I think in advance of the celebrations for the 1966, for the 1916 Rising, but we still haven't gotten anything done. And what we can also think about doing, seems though we've been accidentally doing it, is continuing this road this direction. Oh, just about. Look at that. Because like I said, it's really awkward to try and get rid of those roads. Still no progress on that mine, which is disappointing. Happiness continues to fall, even as housing quality goes up. Entertainment quality comes down a bit. Russia is delighted with us. It was another solid year for the economy, nothing great. After all the work that's been done here, it would almost be a pity at this stage to knock it. But I think we might have to. I don't know. Again, to try and power our building boom, we're going to try and get that construction hut built. There's a couple of country houses, I think it's being built around the place. Okay, now this is a much tougher scenario. So as time goes on, the people will get less and less happy with what we're providing them. The honeymoon period is well and truly over. 104 people want to see Haughey ousted from the island. And we have the support of 64, so we need to change the opinions of a good chunk of people. But you know what? An old tax cut will do wonders. We're into May of 1981. The election will be held in May of 1982. So we let it go for the summer, and we'll see what we can do. Anne Denton is running against us. Member of the religious community. The religious community is causing a lot of trouble. Our religious community is causing a lot of trouble. We're going to see some bananas exported from the island for the first time. So as we hit October of 1981, we have absolutely nothing to celebrate. We're going to declare a Mardi Gras.
Consider it done, my president.
And how much will a tax cut cost us? 43,000. Do it.
Right away, Excellency.
And everyone goes around to Haughey's house and he just pours money into their hands. So let's see if that can at least change the figures in any direction in our favour. But it's entirely likely that Haughey is going to be rigging this election. Now that's going to have ramifications down the line. A couple of things have happened. El Prez's home has been built. That'll hopefully start to provide a bit of entertainment. Of course, that was a massive hit to the economy. Having to hand out 40k. We're within 20 votes of swinging it around, but we were not in a position to do that. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fact that we're just not getting the buildings built fast enough. We have a lot of construction workers, but it seems as though we don't have enough. So 45%. With such a close election, perhaps we should take a small insurance policy. If you'd like, we can arrange to have one of your supporters monitor the ballot box. So no more than 20% of the ballots can be reinterpreted. If we perform the action, you'll suffer some resentment, even if it turns out that the fraud was unnecessary. Shall we go ahead and try to fix the results? The voters do not truly know what they want. The majority does not have the right to do wrong. We have to guarantee that our supporters will vote early and vote often. And again, the deficit is closing, but we're not going to get it closed in time. What a surprise! Nudge, nudge. It seems that our friends in the polling places had to help out with 20 ballots. Including the altered ballots, you won 95 to 74. The fraud was detected by many, and the voters are unhappy. Be careful, because citizens who don't feel that they can trust the ballot box are more likely to oppose you in other ways. Well, let's see the ramifications that has. That's one of the first things, is hopefully people who are unhappy. If people are unhappy with Haughey, they know where to go. That's anywhere other than here. There is rumbling within the military. Thank God we have a police force. We're getting exports off the island. Not a huge amount of exports. We have a massive input store there. The woman that just ran against us is questioning Charlie Haughey's commitment to religion, citing the lack of a cathedral. God damn it, woman. That's breaking my heart. There's some buildings out here getting built. And we can hear this place now playing. Arise and follow Charlie. And we can see the first protests against Haughey's rule. We have an actual protester, Wesley Davidson. I think at this point in time, we have to accept that that thing has been a disaster. What we can do is build a few of those to sort out the issue. What else can we do? With the amount of protests, if things are going, I think we'll have to put down a bank. Hire somebody from abroad and get them to bribe.
Our population has grown to over 250 people.
I hope they start leaving soon. Somebody else protesting in front of the embassy. That's not good. Happiness has plummeted, even with the jump in entertainment quality, even with the jump in housing, even with the tax cut, the absolute collapse in liberty. And that person that was protesting actually has a lot of respect for the leader, so that's not good. Those type of people are protesting. Another protester running through the streets. We could start arresting these people. Could maybe arrest them, but if Haughey starts arresting people, Charlie Haughey starts arresting people and re-educating them, that's going to cause a tremendous amount of resentment over what's already there. Look at our dock. We have some produce and some mining goods to be exported. I would hope that we would start to see the population drop a bit. That if people don't want to live here, that they would leave. Pay increases. Please don't hate me. We're still giving out about this college, which it's there, just waiting for people to start building other things, houses. If we can get everybody out of housing, into good housing. We have a fisherman. Who was that? Who was that fisherman? Okay, happiness is coming up a small bit. Average worker pay. I should look at the disparity. We're closing in on the Caribbean average. The USA is worried about our concept of democracy. I don't even need to check. I know that. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
Claudio Del Rey. You'd want to watch yourself. Oh, wow. Oh, this church is breaking my heart. All the churches are breaking my heart. So I said I hoped the population on the island would drop and all the priests left. We have a boat full of priests. Look at that. Priest rush. I think that's all that showed up. Yeah, 4 immigrants. That's all that showed up was the priests. Still no work being done over there. There's a bank being built. There's 2 houses. Most of the houses over here have been constructed. Okay. Pause it very quickly. 2. Pay a fee. Presidential slush fund. I don't think... No, I think that that boat had just arrived a bit too early. We're only a couple of years out from an election. Only a couple of years out from an election. And it's going to be hard to hold on to power unless we can get the happiness back up. Oh god. I hope that fell. It did, because of entertainment quality. That's fine. That's fine. I can fix that. I can fix that. So again, get the money together for a tax cut. Get the money together for a tax cut. Oh, Jesus.
Rest in peace, muchacho.
A farmer just died. Or not a farmer, a dock worker just died on his way to pick up more goods. Poor healthcare. Somebody should do something about that. If only we had another dock somewhere. Look at this church. Packed to capacity. Everyone's in there. Might need to set up a second one over here. We have somebody who's unemployed is protesting. But because they're a woman, they can't work in the dock. I think we're seeing more people leaving. The population has indeed been fairly stagnant, which is good. What I want. They were a year or two out from an election that I'm dreading. New country house has been built out in Inishvikalon. He has no house. How has he no house? He lives in a good house. Yes, it's that part of the game where we're checking the housing conditions of the army. Yeah, it's that part of the game. The 80s were a wild time. Crime safety is great. Living environment, entertainment quality is actually started to turn up a small bit. Religion quality is still low, even though I just paid for 4 priests. Housing quality is stagnant. The economy, like I said, is not growing as much as we would have liked. Food quality. I think the closer those two lines are, the lower the quality. It's kind of a weird one. Like, we've had meals skipped, probably because people just can't get to food. Again, the foreign aid from the USA is kind of a reflection of how happy they are with us. As you can see, the Ruskies don't care about elections. Trying to get through the next couple of elections. That's just going to be the problem. We have this place increasing everyone's admiration for El Presidente. I hope. The militarist faction is complaining that the armed forces are much too small. I don't know. Okay, yeah, they're beginning to drop now.
My president, the people, they suffer for lack of medical treatment.
The people suffer for a lack of a lot of things. I didn't even know we had rebels. There is a revolt. Well, it's not really a revolt. A rebel attack against Haughey's regime. Usually it might have appeared at some stage. We'd get a pop-up, or not really a pop-up, but just a notification that that somebody had become a rebel, and the rebels are attacking one of our coffee plantations. What we can do, pause, and you can see that straight away members of the army have started to run towards where they believe the attack is, and I thought that was them. This is how good our census taking is. Let's check jobs. So, Velma Reynoso. Married to somebody who works in a bauxite mine. Okay. I thought maybe it was somebody who might know Mateo, that we saw at the start of the episode. Here is...
Rest in peace, muchacho.
My God.
So sad.
Yeah, healthcare is not the best. Somebody should do something about that. But just after, isn't this interesting? Just after the military complained that the military wasn't large enough, we have a rebel outbreak. Isn't that interesting? Let's put it on normal. Let's see how this all goes. Here we have Egberto O'Crahon, or O'Crihan. That is brother, Tomás O'Crihan. Well, now they have arrived. They have gotten advance notice. And here, appearing out of nowhere, the rebel scum. Running through the coffee plantation as the cheerful music comes on. Here is the other remaining soldier. Look at that! Tomás O'Crihan with a single shot has suppressed
So sad.
the rebellion, dealt with the rebel scum. This is what I usually do in times like this. To commemorate this absolutely fantastic achievement, up goes a statue. Now, we do have to worry about the fact that... why does the Eastwood name sound familiar to me? Did we have... I know they made... Wait, no, that was Westwood, wasn't it? Different wood, wrong wood. We should rename him to Clint. I wasn't sure if maybe Eastwood was a family that had popped up in connection to something. Would we want to start building a dungeon? Our problem is if we declare a dictatorship, if we start blocking elections, which is the direction it's going in, I'm wondering, will we have the support of the army? Will we have a police force large enough to arrest the army if it rebels against us? Will we have good enough relations with the Russians to build a military base somewhere on the island to protect us from the Americans? These are the thoughts going through Charlie Haughey's mind on the 70th anniversary of the 1916 Rising. We have managed to suppress an attack on the island. Surely Haughey can argue that there is a necessity, or where is it? Martial law. Okay. We're going to get a pop-up in a second. Presidente, your soldiers have beaten off the rebels. This time, we're going to build a statue there to Tommaso Crichton beating off a rebel. The statue itself is, like I've said before, it's an equestrian statue of Charlie Haughey, but there's going to be a plaque on the front that will show Tommaso beating off the rebel. All the Teamsters, I'm pausing and unpausing all the Teamsters as they go up, they'll pass by the statue. Watching a dedicated and loyal soldier of Tropico. With determination in his eyes, beating off a rebel. I'd say we're just going to coat this place in houses. Has he got onto the island yet? God damn it, he hasn't. And this is our problem.
Presidente, I believe
Don't say
some
it.
of your people may be calling for an election next year.
This is our problem, is that if the dock workers... That ship will just stay there, waiting. Happiness is 42. Religion is still in the pits. Healthcare has plummeted. Look at that, 10 grand gone to try and get in doctors. Education, yeah, I'd say they've left. Doing it slowly. Slowly getting done. Actually, what does the anti-litter ordinance do? They'll resent the intrusion on their time, freedom, and liberty. Never mind. Not for now, anyway. Right. Oh, there he is. There he is. Lloyd Davidson. A banker from New York. Living in a shack. Okay. The militarist. Reggie Ferguson. Where is he? Reggie, we'll come back to you in a minute. The religious faction, Maria. There she is. Bribe.
It will be done.
Communists. Carlos Orlando.
Right away, Excellency.
I had to make sure there for a second I wasn't clicking eliminate. Where are we going? Politics, factions, capitalists, Manuel Gonzalez. Oh no, wrong one. Okay. Haughey is frantic at the moment.
It will be done.
Intellectuals. Pedro Valdez. Pedro, where in the name of God are you going? He's probably going to the dock. Is, I'd say. And, environmentalists. Arturo.
It will be done.
And finally, back to the militarists, back to Reggie. Wait for Reggie to leave his house. Waiting for Reggie. Waiting for him. There he is. There he goes. No. Bring me back to Reggie.
As you wish.
Okay. So we're going to try and have our banker bribe the leader of all the factions on the island. I think he's probably going to go to his office first of all, isn't he? He doesn't walk the fastest, as you can see, so it's going to take a while. We've all the houses over here built. There's just one building there to go. I think they're coming out here to build houses. I hope they are. Because I have food there for you guys. Rumbling of discontentment amongst the officer corps. We'll check that out now in a second. Is the guys in crappy housing? Most of you guys have good housing. Okay, you have a crappy house. Thomas, why don't you move somewhere better? There's a bloody apartment complex built. Am I going to have to put down another apartment complex just to keep him happy? You know what? That's not that bad. That's not as bad as the last time. It's 20 votes. It's pretty much the exact same. We will hold elections, and they will be free, open, and democratic, just like the last ones were. Just like the last ones were. Just like the last ones were. And look who it is, Pedro Valdez. Right. That's disappointing. That's disappointing. Oh, it's not. Never mind. Oh no, that's to be expected. I think Valdez took over from Peg Sayers as leader of the island's intellectuals. He lives in a crappy house, but he's got good pay. I don't know what he's complaining about. I don't know what he's complaining about. Where is this guy? Because we're going to see him. He's going to try and get to that lad, and oh, it's going to be. Boys, is it going to be entertaining watching him? Is it going to be? Look at him go! Look at him go! And he's recalculating at every step. Happiness has actually gone up. Religion quality. It could just be that he bribed someone. Crime safety is as high as it's ever been. The living environment is absolute hell. This place is disgusting. Top exports, canned coffee. We actually exported a lot this year. Is he going to make it? Oh, Lord almighty. You passed him by. You actually passed him by. It's 1988. Does anybody know any good movies that came out in 1988? Probably a couple of movies that that we're only getting to see on the island for the first time. 1988. Yara, I'm sure something happened to justify a Mardi Gras.
It will be done.
And a tax cut is going to be 44,000. Look how close to the middle it is. Look how close to the middle it is. So we don't have anyone who desperately hates us We also don't have anyone that really likes us. So hopefully, you know what? Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Consider it done, my president.
Half the economy gone for a second time. God damn it. No, it's just swung in the opposite direction. For a tiny moment there, it almost looked like we could have won the election without needing to rig the polls. Has he bribed anyone? I don't think so. I don't see him bribing anyone. You generally do need more than one banker
The island is disgusting, President.
to try to corral
Is there nothing that can be done for the environment?
the people that they're trying to bribe. No, absolutely nothing that can be done, I'm afraid. It's a terror. Look at that, we're just down to 3 votes. We're just down to 3 votes. Is there anything I can do? Haughey needs power.
It will be done.
We're doubling people's food consumption. I don't think we have the food to support that. But with any luck, it will swing enough voters in favour, and then we'll cancel it. Nope, never mind. The majority still does not have the right to do wrong. Rig the election. Three votes. We would have lost by 8. Oh, no, we wouldn't. I think we would have lost by maybe 4 or something. But they rigged 8 of them. So take 8 off of 94 puts you on 86. So yeah, we would have lost by 4 votes. 90 votes to 86. The fraud was detected, and many voters are unhappy. So that's the way it goes. The Reggie Ferguson is demanding a general, pretty much, yeah. I know, Reggie, I know. Happiness has gone up. I'm just getting visions of all the problems that I'm creating in this desperate bid to retain power. Oh lord. Do we have special expenses? I'm trying to see where we can figure out if people have actually been bribed by this useless ape. The communists, perfect harmony. They should let me be the leader. That's a level of respect that indicates that somebody's had a visit from the bank manager. That's a level of respect that indicates that somebody is the bank manager. We're happy El Presidente has issued. You would be, wouldn't you, you devil? The religious faction. Look, that indicates that somebody got a visit from the banker. Not sure about that. Definitely not. He definitely hasn't gotten a visit yet. Definitely not. He hasn't gotten a visit yet. So, if we can get them happy, like I said, I've gone over this before, their feelings have a strong influence on the faction as a whole. Let's actually go and look at the communists. He's unhappy. That's his respect for the leader, and he's unhappy. He's done an excellent job. It might actually tell us. It might actually tell us. Does it tell us? Militarists. Religious. Leading a cathedral. cathedral. I thought it might have told you that that they got a visit from El Presidente or something like that. I can't remember. They're crying out for a cathedral. Aren't they always? Says the man. Aren't they always? Says the man. Even though there's a lot of people wandering around with the things over their head. So I don't know what's going on. What were you cutting that for? What are you doing? Restore that to normal because nobody's getting it built. So I think we'll just let the island build as normal. I don't think we're going to have a great end to the game. I think at this point in time it's just a desperate bid for Haughey to retain power. The early Lamass years we had great economic growth. It is slowing down a bit now. Viva el Presidente indeed. We're not going to be faced with an election for a while though. I don't think Haughey's going to be able to siphon as much money as he would like. Yeah, that's... no. Put it down here so by there. How's this place doing? Still hasn't produced anything, and the great thing is that all these goats have names. Most of them are just known as Duchess. No, Kickapoo, come on now. Kickapoo has to be left. Duchess. Willabella. And of course, they also have stats, needs, sleep, eat, sleep, eat, sleep, eat. I'm not complaining, says Jack Lynch. I strongly favour subsidies for chicken producers and a heavy consumption tax on beef. So that's, I think, what, especially what the cattle say. Now, these, of course, are goats. That's his housing. Oh, sure, my Billy was quite the randy goat when I first met him. Now he won't help out with the kids, and he won't pay attention to me. Fat and lazy, and passes gas all day long. Jack Lynch, education, none. Intelligence, good. Courage, average. Leadership, very poor. I'll let somebody else think about that. Right. So much more to be done, and again, look at that. That's a great symbol of all the work that we've done. That's a great symbol of all the work that we've done. A big hole in the middle of the island. That's pretty much all we've achieved. Can't even get the brothel and the GPO running. I think we'll work on that next. Get the brothel and the GPO up and running. Get that apartment complex up and running. To see if we can keep the army from coming after us. Happiness is still at 46. And if we look now, special expenses. So here we have this little spike, 300. That was sent by our banker, and it is something that I'm disappointed with, that I failed. I didn't actually realize it was the end of the 1980s. That I failed to get the college up and running to produce bankers to siphon as much money out of the economy as humanly possible. Now the problem is that we need that money for tax cuts. We desperately need that money for tax cuts. So do you know what? 55 points from the Swiss bank size we'd need to get an extra 40 points. Need about another 8,000 or something to cancel another 8,000, and we might cancel the negative points that we're getting from the unhappy citizens. We have a couple of happy ones though, so we can't complain too much. Let's take a quick view. I'm actually surprised that average worker pay has gone up to that level. I wasn't watching. Swiss bank account has been growing steadily. If we take a look at the people, they're just behind the Caribbean average, so we're going to get that sorted out. We're going to put it ahead of the Caribbean average for the by the end of the run. I think we've 2 elections to go in the 90s. One of them towards the very end of our regime. The United States are beginning to tolerate the fact that we have to be a bit creative with respecting the people's democratic expectations, but also respecting our expectation that we stay in power. The economy has been doing... I don't think the 80s were as good as the end of the 70s. That was a glory period for An Blascaod Nua. We had a bit of a drop there, alright, but then we've had this big long stretch. Of course, the dock was shut down for ages because people started leaving. That's actually an interesting thing to check. The number of citizens. So again, we have almost linear growth and then it levels off. It started to go up again. And record years for emigration, I'd say probably after our first rigged election. So hefty numbers there. And the same year, actually, nobody came to the island. They knew what was up. And if we look finally at the economy, top exports. No, that's not what I wanted to look at. I do just like looking at this. Now that I've discovered it, acres planted has actually decreased throughout the 80s. While, look at this. Food eaten has doubled. And that was in our desperate bid to retain power by increasing the food expectations. Well, that's going to be a tough one. If we look at the food quality... So what we're going to be doing on the next episode, we do have government reserves of food. There are still personal meal reserves. They are not going to take people through the entirety of the 90s. We need to get some wharves down to provide food. We're probably never going to get that gold out of Croagh-Patrick. We're never going to get that gold out of Croagh-Patrick. There's a lot that we're not going to be able to do, because the most important thing is that we retain power. Things are getting a bit dicey for Haughey. The middle of the 80s was a dark period. Haughey desperately clinging on to power. There was even a rebel outbreak, an attempt to cripple part of the economy. Haughey's devoted army saw that off, but whether they will stay as devoted through the 1990s is the next thing. And the Swiss bank account hasn't grown much in the last decade. I don't think it will be growing much, because like I said, we need that money for tax cuts to maintain power, to get the score as high as possible, and to get off the island with a legacy, a successful legacy. Can we achieve that on the next and final episode of Charles J. Haughey's run as Ree of An Blascaod Nua? Who knows? Thank you for joining me on this episode. Check out the description below for links to my Twitch account. I'll be probably streaming some nonsense or insanity there. And yeah, as always, thank you very much for joining me on this episode, and I will talk to you on the finale.